Hi guys, today I want to talk about the New England Colonies. We're going to go ahead and start with 1620. William Bradford and the Pilgrims came over to the New World in search of religious freedom. They were being persecuted over in England, so they want religious freedom. The only problem was they were supposed to end up in Virginia, and they end up in Plymouth, which is part of Massachusetts. So they had to create a document and create their own first government, which was the Mayflower Compact. Remember that compact, I can open it up and see myself in the mirror. And so this is a memory trick to know that the Mayflower Compact becomes the first self-government in the New World. Well, 10 years later, the Puritans, led by John Winthrop, they left England because of religious persecution as well, and they come to Massachusetts Bay Colony, close to Boston, and they settle for religious freedom. The only problem is the Pilgrims and the Puritans want religious freedom for themselves, but they are not willing to give it to other people who are different from them. So if you entered Massachusetts and you were not a Pilgrim or Puritan and you were not willing to become a Pilgrim or Puritan, you could either be accused of being a witch and be put on a witch trial, or you would be kicked out. New Hampshire, we said, very unlikely you will ever be tested on New Hampshire. But they also are established for religious freedom, along with some profit from trade, fishing, and lumber. Now, two people who were kicked out of Massachusetts because of their religious beliefs are Anne Hutchinson and Roger Williams. I kind of think of Roger R. and Rhode Island R. So Anne and Roger, they leave Massachusetts and they set up Rhode Island for religious freedom from the Puritans. One more person who is kicked out of Massachusetts for his religious beliefs is Thomas Hooker. Now, we said Connecticut. The first word in Connecticut is connect, and I think of hook, like Thomas Hooker, so a hook connects. He is known as the father of American democracy. He sets up Connecticut to help expand trade, but also for religious and political freedom. He is significant because he writes the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut, the FOC. This is important to us because it's the first written constitution in America, but it also extends voting rights to more men. So he doesn't care if you are a landowner. He doesn't care if you're a part of the church. He thinks that the free men should be able to vote. Okay. Now, the last bit of information there that we put on our notes was that Boston, back here in Massachusetts, is a port city. Remember, these colonies are mostly established for religious freedom. So when we get to Colin E, oh gosh, where did he go? There he is. Colin E, we said that the New England colonies are represented by the head, and that's because you use your head for your thoughts and your beliefs. And so New England colonies are going to be settled primarily for religious reasons. Now, if you're having some trouble remembering where everything is, don't forget our little memory trick. We have my new hamster really is cute. So Massachusetts, okay, we have New Hampshire, and then we have Rhode Island and Connecticut. I also like to tell my kids, and we can look at this bigger map here, I like to tell my kids that Massachusetts kind of looks like a witch's boot. So that makes me think of the Salem witch trials. Remember, the Puritans would accuse people of being a witch if they didn't necessarily have the same religious beliefs as them. So there's Massachusetts, the witch's boot. Okay. I'm going to look at our peg sheet really quickly for the New England colonies, and let's just make sure that we understand all these big ideas. So two really important documents, political documents that come out of New England colonies: Mayflower Compact, first self-gov, and then FOC, Fundamental Orders of Connecticut. Thomas Hooker extends voting rights to most men and creates the first written constitution in the New World. In the New England colonies, you're mostly going to see self-governments. And then we talked about leaders William Bradford with the Pilgrims, Thomas Hooker in Connecticut, Roger Williams and Anne Hutchinson in Rhode Island. For the economy, people settling in the New England colonies are going to make money by trading and shipping. Remember, their port city is Boston. They will be involved in fishing, whaling, shipbuilding, timber from some of the forests, and fur trade. Okay, geography. Again, we colored the New England colonies blue because they have a really cold climate. rocky soil, but they do have lots of coastlines, so that again makes it easy for fishing, trading, shipping. There are some forests, subsistence farming. They will not be growing cash crops in New England. They are going to produce enough just for themselves and their family. And again, we said the port city of Boston. Last but not least, we have the social aspects of the New England colonies. Remember, the major reason for settling these colonies is religious freedom. And then we also talked about an event called the First Great Awakening, which I said we'll learn a little bit more about next week. Basically, it's this idea that the churches are teaching that people should have freedom of religion, people should all be considered equal in the eyes of God, and that people should use their voice in government. So basically, they're encouraging a representative or self-government in these colonies. Don't forget, you can always look at your colony sheet, and this right-hand side is kind of your little cheat sheet of all the important information that you need to know. Have a great night. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.